Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pull Up 3. I am Paragon Don,
I'm Jemay.
And I'm Jay Trent.
and today we have a special guest on the pod. Taka, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Taka. Uh, I'm very happy to be here. Very excited to be here. Been looking forward to this for days on end. I've been looking forward to this meeting. So yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us. Um, can you describe like your place in women's basketball, how you got started, what you do, things of that nature?
Sure. Women's basketball started. Grew up. Kind of found basketball when I was younger. Have a younger sister, and she was always very good at basketball, like much better than me. And so my dad ended up coaching her when she was little, and so women's basketball and men's basketball has just kind of been interchangeable in my family. First basketball team I remember that wasn't. I remember watching that wasn't like a local team. Was the Seattle Storm. Lauren Jackson being Australian, that was close enough to New Zealand, so I kind of latched on to watch her. And then like other Australians came through because we had one Kiwi who played like one season, and so the WNBA wasn't massively on our board. So it was just, oh, who's close? Oh, Australia's close. Love hate relationship, but they're better at basketball than us, so get on board with that. And then yeah, other Australians along the way, and then yeah, eventually just kind of settled on supporting the Fever through Kelsey Mitchell. And so yeah, have been doing Fever content for the past. Content's such a weird word to say too, but Fever things for the past 2 years. Just kind of writing with the team. Started a podcast this last season. So yeah, it's fun. So that's probably my space in women's basketball and basketball in general, really.
So, what was your draw to Kelsey Mitchell?
Oh, so I was listening, just like, you're just watching basketball, listening to podcasts and reading articles and all of that stuff. And I remember, like, I loved her game because it was just, because, like, my favorite players are traditionally, like, role players who fill what the team needs. And Kelsey was definitely, like, a very different player to that. But I was just so impressed with her game, what she could do, how she scored. And then listening to her in podcasts and interviews, hearing the kind of person she was, um, when I started to be a little bit more intentional about who I wanted to support, she just sounded like she was just awesome, just like an awesome person. And yeah, so it kind of latched onto her. Then that kind of turned into more of the Fever as a whole. Um, yeah, that's kind of how it happened with Kelsey.
Interesting. We talk about that with music a lot in a sense. Like you could be a fan of something and like the way they play, or but once you start diving into how they are as a person, that's really where
Sure.
things start to really connect. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna follow this person for the rest of their career, type thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I definitely get it. So first up on for the Fever, what things did you like from the Fever this season, or what type of things did you dislike from the Fever this season?
I'm enjoying looking at Jemay's face because she just looks like a what? What did I like about this team? I love that they made the playoffs. Like above anything else, that they have started to get some wins was just what a good feeling. Because you follow the team, and um, yeah, it's fun to support a rebuilding team and feel like you're there when they're not very good. But it's much better when that shifts and they start to like win. And this season was a real interesting one. I'm sure Jemay can attest. Like the online conversation about the Fever was different than what it's ever been before, and like the type of conversations that were happening around the team, so different. So the on-court product being what it was, like them winning. Um, I'm remembering those first games though; those were awful. That initial stretch at the start was just, oh, that was awful. So the end of the season is what I liked. After the Olympic break was what I loved. I think I blocked out actually how bad that start was. But yeah, no, sorry. What I liked, just how they kind of came together as a team. Getting to see Lexi Hull do so well was like really cool because they're seeing her kind of finally find her shot was one of those really fun things as a fan. I guess those are the things I loved the most was just them finally getting some wins, seeing how excited they were to win. I think for me probably those things. Jemay.
Oh, what did I like? I think I actually couldn't block out the first part of the season, unfortunately. Until I had to argue to the point about the dialogue on Twitter, like me and you talked about it, Taka, like early in the season that it was just bad. But I had to be reminded of it like in August because obviously watching this team, my expectation was the playoffs, right? Like that was we want to win more than 13 games and we want to make the playoffs, right? So that was my expectation walking into the season. And I had to I remember saying something like, if you watched the Fever long enough, you would have expected them to make the playoffs. Like, do they look much better in this post-Olympic break? Yes. But this is who you should have expected them to be. And I remember this guy, I don't even know who the guy is, but he just was like, there's no way you watch the Fever play their first game. They went like 2 for 12 or whatever. They lost like 6 straight, and um, you couldn't have thought they were a playoff team at that point. And I'm like, well, we could have done a lot of things differently in those 6 games. If we want to be honest, like there was a different approach we could have taken. Where those outcomes might have looked different. And also, I mean, we're playing the teams who ended up being the top 5 in our league, So it's not like we were playing the fucking Sparks and day one. Like, I mean, no shade to Sparks, but
we can throw shade to the Sparks.
It wasn't like that wasn't our situation. So like, yeah, those games look bad, but also we got a rookie point guard out there vibing. Like, I just it's so like the expectations should have been a little low. But that's the thing I think about the interesting thing about a W is that it's like there's not a lot of games. So the bar to make the playoffs is kind of low, right? Like here you win 12 games and you might make the cutoff. And that was always our goal, like to win 12 to 13 games. We did that and we were getting somewhere. And so I don't know, just even having to argue with people about that is just like there's no way you were like watching us play last season and having to struggle through the actual bad basketball that we had to watch. Like some of this stuff this year was bad basketball, but like
nothing like what it was the way.
Like you were not watching I'll never forget the 2022 the final game of the season. The Fever played the Mystics and they were in Butler's Arena because Gamebridge was like getting rebuilt. And they had give out these little bracelets. And the Mystics beat the shit out of us. Like Elena Deladon played the game of her life. I don't even remember what nobody on the Fever did, but I was watching that game like, oh my God, Elena Deladon is an icon. Like what I'm watching a basketball legend. Like that's how bad our team is. You don't even remember who played. So like they weren't there for that. You know what I'm saying? They were not in the trenches watching this team to this point. I like to say the things that I liked. Obviously I like the post Olympic break stretch. I also started to like when the team started to recognize that everybody has to contribute. Um, and I guess this kind of gets into the things that I didn't like. I feel like when we started this season, it was like all eyes are on Caitlyn, right? So we have to let Caitlyn save us. And I'm like, she's not gonna do that. Like she's just not like for one, basketball is a team sport, so there was no way she could do that anyway. Just given the talent in the W. Um, but two, it's like you shouldn't want her to do that. Like she just got here and she just came off a really long college season. Maybe we should try to do some things like ease her into this situation. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say I was a big fan of like the minutes that Caitlyn played. Some of the rotations, I'm a firm believer in if you're a young team, you need to play your whole bench. You have no excuse. Like, yeah, we wanted to make the playoffs, but again, you only really needed to win 12 games. So we had a little bit of wiggle room there, especially against teams where it's like, we getting blown out by the Liberty while our starters still in. They're not coming back. We're not coming back down 25. Sorry, it's not happening. And so things like that, I would have just liked to see a little bit more. I will say, I guess, to a thing that I did like, I am a Kristy Sides truther. We'll probably get to that, but I am a Kristy Sides truther. And I think she did pretty well this season. I think she did. I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll probably talk about that later, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Jay, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I was gonna say it just listening to y'all talk about it, it made me think of y'all mentioned the first part of the season pre-Olympic break. You could sense, and we've talked about this before, you could sense the kind of push pull between the way that the Fever played last year with Aliyah Boston having the outstanding rookie season that she had, leading the league in field goal percentage, and that going from that to trying to find the sweet spot between her being comfortable and getting Caitlyn acclimated into running an offense at this level. And there was a lot of growth between that portion and then the second part of the season where y'all were comfortably the number one offense in the W. Like you could see Caitlyn seeing how to get Aliyah involved, how to get everyone else involved. You could see when they run the high pick and roll and Aliyah's cutting and she gets the ball, she's making quick passes. Those were things that she wasn't doing before. Not because she wasn't capable, but it was because it was something that wasn't asked of her prior to then. So I think that's important. I think going forward, that being something that you can build on is what's going to make this team, a problem going forward. Because of course you'll have to find the right pieces to supplement those two. Because I mean, those two are the core going forward. I know that we'll probably we'll talk more about Kelsey Mitchell and what's expected for her after this season. But I just that was what I enjoyed seeing from them through this season. So, and what I didn't like was obviously the defense. The defense, it for me, it just seemed like it seemed to be too disjointed at times, and it's not. I don't think it's a personnel issue. I think the Fever have pretty good defensive personnel, but there were just it seemed to be communication issues, is what I would call it. So that's how I'll word that for now.
That is such a generous response because yeah, like those missed, like I feel like there was a stretch of games where they could not switch to save their life. I'm like, it can't be this hard. Like and you know it's coming. Yeah, I know you see the screen. Like, you're not even gonna put a hand up, a scream, nothing. It was just like, all right, my bad, y'all. Like, girl, do it, and then the next play you do the same thing. Girl. So that's generous. That's very generous of you.
Yeah, because they couldn't
I'm
switch,
feeling.
then they couldn't go over screens, so they go under screens. So they couldn't do that, right? Then they were like forgetting to defend somebody off ball. The amount of times you saw someone just go like this after a play, there's like someone turning to the sideline. I don't know, but they were talking. Let's look at the sideline, like, and I was like, oh, come on, man, come on.
Oh, I thought you were about to finish your statement, Jay. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Some of the things I liked were that, like I mentioned, you could just see the growth throughout the season and them getting more comfortable. Really, I think the biggest growth came from Aliyah. Uh, with like, I can't imagine her being a dominant low post big for 99% of probably her whole basketball playing career, like high school, college, first year in the pros. I'm getting this ball in this low post, and if they double me, I'll kick it out to one of y'all. But otherwise, get the fuck on. And now you your second year in the league is the first time you're playing someone that's like on par with you skill wise, and now you have to adjust your game more than they have to adjust their game. And like now, instead of getting this ball all the way down here, I'm running pick and rolls and catching the ball in the short roll, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do in the short roll. Like, it's a really big adjustment to make, and you had people questioning her like stamina on the court because she wasn't playing well, and it was like it's not it's not about whether she can keep up or whether she can run or any of that. Like, that is not an issue. I there was never a point where I really questioned whether she can run the floor. It was just about people need time to adjust to things. Caitlin needed time to adjust with playing with someone as good as Aliyah and Kelsey, because she never really played with someone that those people that talented in Iowa. Like, she had good players, don't get me wrong. But someone of those caliber, or especially people who can create their own shots in that way, it just wasn't the same. Um, and of course, Kelsey, like, learning to play off ball a lot more. I think her and Caitlin were a dynamic duo at a certain point, like arguably the best backcourt in the league at one point. I think they really learned and adjusted. And like I said, the Olympic break helped them a lot because none of them ended up playing in the Olympics. So they had a lot of time to not only recover from the long off or the long season, but to really gel together. Um, so yeah, it was good. I'm really excited to see what ends up happening with them this year or 2025, and seeing how the team shapes up. But those adjustments and everything that grows with them beyond is going to be really good. I think one of the few things I didn't really like is I think NaLyssa Smith was underutilized at times. Um, I think she definitely could have been more involved in certain ways. I just don't think Kristy knew how she wanted to involve her, at least on a consistent basis. Um, and it, I think people who listen to us know all of us are pretty pro Kristy sides at this point. So that's not like really a knock on her as saying she's a bad coach or anything. It's just every coach has their faults. Like we talked about in the Vegas episodes, Becky is an amazing coach, but she does not know how to utilize her bench. You give her a clipboard and tell her to run the play, she might run you one of the best plays you've ever seen. But if you ask her who to sub in, she don't know. So every coach has their faults, and every coach is going to learn. But I also don't really think she was given the chance to learn at the same time. Obviously, every time things went wrong, it was her fault, and then every time things went right, it was because of Caitlin. So that was very unfair to me, and but that's kind of just the way shit goes. So it'll be interesting to see if Stephanie White is really going to be that much of a better coach than her and what she does differently for them. Um, because I feel like a lot of the best stuff is going to be, or a lot of the fever growth is just going to be internal because Aliyah's having another year, Caitlin's having another year, the whole team has another year to gel. Caitlin was one of the best guards, if not the best guard in W by the end of the season. Like they just people having another year under their belt. So it's a matter of what is Stephanie White going to do differently than Kristy size that really takes them to another level. Um, but we'll see. But yeah, it was a very good season to say from an outside perspective. Uh, I know Jemay as a fan definitely had her moments where she did not enjoy it. But as an outside figure, I thought I thought it was fun. I personally did not put a lot of pressure on them at the start of the season. I definitely thought they could make the playoffs. I think in our little ranking things, most of us put that they would make the playoffs, not all of us. Um, but people were really surprised they weren't that good out the gate, and it's like that's what young people got time to adjust. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world, but people make it seem like it's the end of the world. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think people tend to underestimate the learning curve coming from college ball to pro ball, especially for guards. And we've talked about this before, but there's a there's a huge gap between navigating a college defense while running the offense versus navigating against a pro level defense. So that adjustment period should have been expected. I think people were, expecting Clark to come in and just be a world beater out the gate. And obviously she is that level of talent. But it there's a process, there's growth that has to be there. And we saw the growth from the post Olympic break, how well they played. But people were a little impatient, I think.
So getting into 2015 or 2025, as we know,
what you doing in
lower.
2015?
Let's not go back that far. As we know, in 2025, the expansion draft is coming up. So the Fever can only keep 6 players. They got a new GM and they got a new coach. What are our expectations on who we think they're going to keep? Taka, you're more than welcome to go first.
I think 5 to me feel locked in. I don't know if you all agree. I think Caitlin, Kelsey, Aliyah, Lexi, and Temi feel pretty locked in to me. But what do you think? Do you agree, or do you think do you have a think differently on those 5?
You said Caitlin, Kelsey, Aliyah, Temi,
Lexi,
and Lexi.
Temi and Lexi.
So is NaLyssa Smith a Valkyrie?
I don't know what's happening with NaLyssa. I don't know that it's I don't know that we're going to see the best of NaLyssa on the Fever. I thought she had a real chance. I think just the executive change and the coaching change kind of made me just put my hands up and go, I am not sure. I think beforehand I was pretty confident that they would hold on to NaLyssa, and they still may. Because you could see that Kristy lost confidence in NaLyssa by the end of the season. But that doesn't mean that Stephanie White feels the same. Like Stephanie White might feel like I really like what I've seen from NaLyssa from afar, and I want to work with her and just help. Like if I can help her defense come up a little bit more, I think I could turn her into quite a valuable player. The comment from the Fever in Stephanie White's presser about, hey, we're making phone calls already about how we can do something with the draft, made me think, oh, they might make a pre-draft move. Like they may make a trade or whatever before the draft even happens. And that just kind of gave me pause on really knowing. So that's where I'm at the moment on that with NaLyssa. I could go either way. I feel like her best basketball will be played on a different team. But hey, we come back in a year and everybody's like, yeah, man, NaLyssa turned into an awesome player. I'd be like, well, yeah. I mean, Stephanie White's done great with dynamic power forwards before, or dynamic fours before, so she could definitely do it again. But yeah, I feel really good about those first five, and I just don't know on the NaLyssa one. But
Jemay, would you happen to have who we kept at week 6? Was that?
Yeah. Aliyah, Caitlin, NaLyssa, Temi, Kelsey, and Lexi.
Oh, okay.
That's one of our better ones.
Yeah.
That is one of our better ones. Them other ones,
I mean, yeah, some of our other ones were like, but you know what? But that just goes to show you that you gotta wait. You gotta wait. You gotta let the season play out, because
hindsight is 2020, most definitely.
Yeah,
so I'm
I
not
mean,
like, yeah, but that's funny how that one is actually like really good.
I'm not gonna lie. This might be a hot take. I might swap.
Wait. Can I guess?
Sure.
Were you interested in keeping Damaris?
Why do you think you know me?
Do I not? Do I not?
Damaris just seems like your kind of player, Jimmy. I don't know.
She is. I stand her. I actually stand her. I stand her real bad.
How can you not?
Yeah, I feel like I would low key swap her for Temi, and I feel like because she like, for one, it's not Temi's fault that she was injured all season. That's just not her fault. Freak accident, like over and over and over again. But two, I feel like we didn't really see Damaris like really like. I feel like every time she got in the game, like she was able to make impact, right? And she was able to kind of do all the like intermediate things that I feel like last year, like a Emma Cannon did. Where it's like, oh, she come in, you need her to shoot the ball, she shoot the ball. You come in, you need her play in the post, she play in the post. You come in, quick pass. Like she was kind of doing all the little things. And also I think she played well with both Aliyah and NaLyssa. And so I think she was I think she was a good guard to have. So yeah, I think she would be my swap, actually. But I do understand keeping Temi.
She might be your boy's DL.
I don't know him, sorry.
Damn it.
This is worth a shot.
Jay knows.
I do.
Yeah, I think Damaris has higher upside than Temi. I think you kind of know what you're getting with Temi as like a rim running forward. And her and Caitlin's chemistry was really good. I feel like if the two were available, Damaris is getting picked up before Temi is because of Damaris's upside. At least that's what, because I feel like, of course, as a GM, as of an expansion team, you want players that you know that are going to be good. But I think when you get to certain points, you're like, okay, I want to pick something that is like, if this works, great. If it doesn't, we're gonna get this pick next year anyway. We probably gonna stink the first year regardless. So I'm swinging for the fences.
You
And
take Damaris over Grace Berger?
yeah.
Would you?
And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Damaris like 29 or 30?
She's 31.
She's
and
31.
you know me, I'm not, I'm with the youth movement. But this is why
I don't think Grace Berger get picked up either.
Okay, not too much on my girl. Not too much. Not too much. Not too much.
All right. My bad.
But I think
my bad.
what I really, really, really wanted to happen this season, and some of this I blame Kristy, and I blame the front office. I'm blaming all of them. Because what I really wanted to see was Grace and Caitlyn play 1-2, kind of interchangeably. And kind of give Caitlyn the opportunity to play off ball. And I think it didn't happen early on because Caitlyn was like not committing to playing off ball. Like if she didn't have the ball in her hand, she was going to stand there. And that just doesn't work, right? Like you just can't not interact with the game. And two, I do think to some extent the front office was like, no, we need Caitlyn to kind of carry, which is probably why she played damn near 40 minutes a game, which is also makes no sense. But anyway, I really wanted to see Caitlyn and Grace because I think it could have worked. And I think that it would have expanded the offense in a way that was more of like a middleman to what they did last season and what we kind of saw this season. Because Grace and Aliyah last season played so well together. Like I was like, oh my God, this is the second coming of what was her name? From IU. Grace said she got drafted this year. Mackenzie. It was like Grace McKenzie all over again. And I was like, that is like a winning formula, and it was a level of play that Aliyah was used to. And so I really wanted to see how they could like find that balance of trying to play like that because with the bigs that we do have, like there aren't very many mobile bigs in the W anyway. So I'm not super fond of like trying to rush into this like let's just run basketball. I think it has its place, and that I think there's certain times that we could do it. But I just don't think that is we not there yet. And at least women's basketball, I don't think is there yet. And I think we could have saw a happier medium there. But the fact that she didn't play, like the fact she really didn't play Grace much of at all is just so silly to me because I do think in the few games that we saw her, I can feel like I feel like I started to see her decision making starting to get better. She was attempting to take shots. Did she hit them all? No. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're starting to see things play out in a way that is like, okay, I can see a future where she's going to play really well. But that comes with getting reps. And if you don't get reps, you can't get better. So I would have really loved to see her get more minutes. So I don't think they will save her. But I would if I am another team, like I might pick her up over our other choices, not gonna lie. I mean, just saying.
I think they wanted Kristy Wallace to be that connector, and then Kristy just wasn't as good this season. Because last season, she made a huge difference when she came into the lineup. Like her versus Lexi was almost the reverse this season. Because last season, the lineup with Lexi was really bad. They put Kristy in, and it just unlocked something for the team because she was shooting well. Like she shot like over 40% on high, like pretty high volume. She was our best defender apart from Lexi last season. But this season, it was just a completely different story for Kristy. Like she wasn't as fast laterally. I think the injury she had was still having a part, and she just wasn't as good. Like her shot wasn't there at all. Because when she did play, they were doing those. Oh, Caitlin and Kelsey are both off ball. Let's run something with Kristy leading the offense when they put Kauri Samuelson to the bench. But Kristy just couldn't do it. Like she just wasn't as good this season, and so it was such a negative. And then Lexi coming in just skyrocketed things. And like you said, so we never got to see Grace because they kind of it just wasn't. I think when she was drafted, they talked about her being able to play the 1, 2, 3, but I think along the way somewhere they got caught in she can only play the 1, and they kind of went away from that. She has some versatility thing, and so they always wanted Caitlin or Erica, and so then it just turned into we can't do Grace there. Maybe they felt like the shooting wasn't to that level if you're going to put her next to Erica or whatever. But yeah, I think in their best laid plans it was going to be you could have more off ball Caitlin, and then the offense was really unlocked when it was just I'll put it on ball because we can't find that third player. But yeah. Just as you're talking, I was like, I've burned into my brain Kristy Wallace trying to run the offense and it just not working. Like I had this picture against Seattle where it was just like, oh no, it's all gone wrong. But like, because I loved her last season, I thought she made such an impact, and I was like, yeah, that's the kind of player who'll be great. And then it just, so hopefully wherever her career takes her, if it's back, if it's somewhere else, she can find that form again just for her.
Yeah, I just looked. Last season, not this past season, but season before, 43% from three for Kristy Wallace
That's crazy.
versus 29% this season, and that was the clear drop off. And I remember we talked about how with the main lineup that the Fever were running, it was that 3 spot that was always in flux. And Jemay mentioned a lot that you can tell that Kristy Sides wanted that 3 to be Kristy Wallace, and she just didn't have it. And it seemed like it took so long for her to just say, okay, we're gonna have to try something else because this isn't working. And towards the end of the season, when the offense got going, you can see that, like you said, Lexi Hull was the one who stepped up in that spot and was, more comfortable spotting up, knocking shots down, playing defense on the other side. So it ended up working out, but I feel like that does kind of complicate things going forward, because if you're looking and saying, okay, we got to protect 6 players, what do you look to do? Because you also got an off season coming up, and you say that 3 spot is still going to be important. So do we look for additional depth at that spot? Or do we just, stack up around that, or try to bring in another, let's say you don't protect Grace Berger and she leaves, do you say, okay, do we try to bring in another secondary ball handler where if Caitlin's getting trapped, she can pass out of that and have somebody that's comfortable handling the ball? Like, do you look for that?
But that's why I really wanted them to commit to the Grace experiment, because I feel like she could have gotten. I think being the connector, I think that's a really good word and a good point, because despite me being a Kristy Wallace hater, last year she did come in the clutch a lot. I had to give it to her. And at the beginning of this season, I was like, Kristy, please sit her down. Like, I sit her down. Please sit her down. Like, and then she tried to do the Kauri Samuelson experiment. And I'm like, if I have to watch Kauri Samuelson defend anybody else, I'm going to kill myself. Because I don't like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing it? Oh, poor baby. I didn't like that experiment either. And I just don't understand how we never got to the, like, all right, we ain't got nothing to lose. Grace, you go ahead and try. Like, I don't understand how we just didn't get there. But I will say I do appreciate Lexi's jump because like last year Lexi couldn't Lexi couldn't shoot into the ocean. Like I was like, girl, what are you going through? Um but then this season for her to randomly turn it around too, because I feel like even at the beginning of the season, she wasn't shooting that well. And then after the break, she just kind of was like, I got it. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad you got it. I don't know where you got it from, but keep it. Just keep it. But yeah, I just don't know how we never got to grades. Like I think we really needed to see that. I think we really need to see that.
What y'all gonna do when the Fever use their 6 protection on Kalu?
I don't. I don't think they need to.
It's Stephanie White.
You just leave it unprotected and you're fine. Would be my.
That they probably.
You don't need to use it. She'll be back. You're right.
They gotta protect their investment.
I'm afraid that they will not have to do that.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah. I thought,
as
a positive Katie Lou. She was better at the 4 than she was at the 3. At the 3, the lack of speed and perhaps coming back from having a baby, like first season back. The lack of speed and footwork, that was really noticeable when she was trying to defend on the perimeter. She got better at just putting her hands up or just like falling over, taking the charge at the 4, which was good. But yeah, you hope that, I don't know. I don't know what you hope for her. Just that she can. Oh no, I can it's just like I don't want to set the expectation too high, right? I hope she can.
Yeah.
It's just more like become a player next season that when they need that like stretch 4 to come in, maybe play the lineups a little, you can put her in just to kind of change the feeling of the floor or offer something there. And hopefully, like another season back from having a baby will be just really helpful for that way too. Like it's can't imagine doing that too. So. But
I think
definitely wrong spot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think her clearly not being comfortable at the 3 was the biggest hindrance. Like I knew that was going to be what they were going to try to do with her, but it was clear that she was more comfortable at the 4, and the lineups looked better with her at the floor, like with her at the 4. So I think that for her to continue to have that type of usage going forward, it's going to have to be at the 4. And I don't know how many 4 minutes are going to be available.
Yeah. Especially if they add someone in free agency, right? Like the squeeze on just how many people you can play there is just like so narrow to find any minutes.
Especially if Caitlin is playing 36 minutes a night, like she did this past season. So pretty much all of your guard minutes are going to be at the 2 next to her. So then that kind of it puts a little bit of a strain on your wing room to say what combination do we put in to make this work.
If we go into the 2025 season and Caitlin is playing 36 minutes a game again, that is either front office malpractice or coaching malpractice, one or the other. There should be no reason that the Fever don't have a capable guard behind her that they trust to come in a little bit and give her a breather. I don't care how much my girl don't want to get out the game. Unless it's the playoffs, you don't need to be playing more than like 32, maybe. If we're being honest.
33, but
like when it's playoff time, I leave you in there all game. It's time to get to that bread. But during the regular season, and we playing the Los Angeles Sparks, come sit down with me, please. It's all right if you don't get this triple double today. I promise to God it is.
I read Stephanie White has already said like one of the adjustments will be less regular season minutes for Caitlin, but we'll see if that holds up, right? Because it's easy to say now when you're like, oh yeah, we got time, like. But if you feel like the game's slipping and you're like, oh, can I push it? And then you continue to do it. But I know that's part of the plan is less Caitlin minutes, more diversity for Aliyah. Like that's part of they really want to try and do that. So we'll see if that works, because yeah, it's a lot of minutes, and I felt it really noticeably on the defensive end near the end of games. It was like, oh, that's where it can still run offense, but on defense, it was like, that's the focus for a second. Now your defender's open. The person you're defending, they've come off a screen, and you're standing there, and it's like, man, that feels just like get a bit more rest. But who knows? Maybe she's like, no, it's sharp as. She probably would. She's probably like, no, it's sharp. I'm all good. I need less. I need more minutes.
No, it was it's funny you like mention that, because she did that so much. And the thing that made me mad is that like she would get mad, and I'm like, girl, that was your man. Like, who are you mad at right now? Like you can't be arguing with the ref and all of that when you just missed your assignment. Like we can't have the shenanigans. If you gonna, you know what I'm saying, lock in. If we're gonna lock in, like, yeah. And two, I just think that like I'm just like not a big fan of teams just having like a reliance on like we see with the Aces. Like we saw how reliant they were on their core to do anything. And that's just not a good stretch to be in. Like you don't, like, yes, these are your rocks, this is your mainstay, your foundation, but like we can get 5 minutes. Like your team, you don't trust your team enough to get them 5 minutes for a breather. Like I don't want to have to watch us play like that. And so I do think the priority need to be a ball handler. And one we actually trust.
Well, speaking of that, another important thing we have coming up is free agency. So I know the agenda that has been pushed a lot is Satou to the Fever. One, Taka, how do you feel about that? As two, is there any other players that you feel like would be like a reasonable addition to the Fever? They got some money freed up because Erica Wheeler's contract is gone. What are you looking to add, or who are you be looking to add?
I've seen the Satou stuff. And if Satou wants to come, that's awesome. Like, you're not going to say, if she comes to you and says, I want to come join the Fever, I don't think the Fever are going to go, we're okay. Like, she wouldn't be the top of my list. But like, great player, right? Just awesome, would do so much for the offense at a complete other dimension, competes, has shown flashes of like just great defense. I think especially the season before last, where she wasn't trying to work back from her shoulder injury. Shoulder at FIBA maybe. Like so
I believe so.
Yeah.
Awesome player, right? Like great. I just wouldn't be the top, but really great. But that's the realm of player, that kind of 4, maybe do some 3. My dream that'll never come true is Nneka. Like that, I'm dreaming till the day she re-signs in Seattle. And I saw her talk about how she wants a front office says this. Then she said, and Seattle has all of those. And I went, hey, until you sign that contract, Nneka, I'm going to bed every night. Nneka to the Fever. Nneka. So that's my dream, right? Because that's a player, transforms your defense, does everything you asked of Aliyah last season at a higher level, can help take her to that level, and also is the see, I got too carried away. I can tell you all the great things Nneka would do, and it's never going to happen. But hey, she hasn't signed yet.
Hey, look, we got a new front office. Like we got,
I know,
look, we got things. Look,
Listen, you gotta wish for the things you want, or
you
never know.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So I'm looking at this free agency list, and I know one of the things, of course, we just talked about the Fever need a good guard, a point guard, and it's not a lot of guards in free
Is it like
agency right now.
Erie? Is Odyssey Sims there too? Are those the?
I would not be
I
surprised
believe.
if Odyssey Sims is
Honestly,
there.
Sims is
I don't see it, but
she's
I'm
not
pretty
on
sure
this
she
list,
is.
but she is.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
on the list.
Yeah, she's a one of them.
Aries a restricted free agent, so it just depends on if the Sparks are serious or not, and they never are. So you could probably beat that. Um,
I would be
that's
fond.
not a. It's not a like it's guards, but like
Yeah, yeah.
point guards.
Not gonna lie, I would be fond of Dana Evans or Shatori Kimber Walker.
Oh, it's Troy.
Um,
Yep. It's Troy Kimball. Yep.
um, and Dana Evans, I feel like she got really bad PR this year. Okay, their PR was bad. I saw it. I had to, like, get behind me, Dana, because um, but I do think she would be interesting if as we're thinking about players who can like run the floor and plays well with like players who run the floor. I think Dana, she can handle the ball. She's a PG set to run the floor with mobile bigs, right? And so I think that like if you could find a way to move even um I think there's a way that it could work. It could work. Um, Especially if it's a lineup without like Aliyah, because she is a really good perimeter defender. Um, she can shoot. Like she will take the shot, she will like initiate offense. Um, and so I would kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking about it for a minute, and I kind of like the idea. Um, but
Well,
again, I don't know.
I
how do you
I
feel about Sammy Whitcomb or Kia Nurse as a option, Jemay? Jemay, your face tells me everything. I've seen enough. You don't need to answer. I saw. Don't worry.
Wait, no, hold on. Kia Nurse is a no for me. It's a no for me. Sammy Wickham, outside of eating that gum off the floor, I like her a little bit. I like her.
Maybe we need more gum eating off the floor in the
I
future.
don't know if we need that. I don't know if that's really the
Maybe that's what we're
answer,
missing.
but
Someone who'll do that.
you need grit.
Yeah,
That's
what's more gritty?
yeah, that's resilient. That's what that is.
That's perseverance. That's
Yeah.
that goes in the championship DVDs.
and that was the day she went off too. Like that was the day she was going off against the Liberty. And I'm like, that's why I can't really like drag her too much because I know she was just like, I'm locked in. But I don't want you to be that locked in where you just leave it on the floor. Like you don't even need to touch it no more, like. But I like the Sammy idea.
Would you meet Gabby Williams at the airport if she decided she wanted to come?
Gabby is funny because
Gabby,
I
I
do
mean,
think
Jemay gonna
I
meet
do
her at the
think she's a
airport
good
and tell her to turn
player.
around. I said you gonna meet her at the airport and tell her to turn around.
Said, sister, you don't actually want to be here. I won't even tell her my song.
I
Um,
think I see.
I wouldn't hate Gabby Williams. I feel like she's a player you also like. You don't turn away, right? Because like I think there's so much. Her bag is so deep that there's so much to like that you can pull from, and she's a solid defender. We can't really be turning away defenders. Like we can't really be doing that. So, um, I could I could vibe with her. I could vibe with her.
How do you feel about a slightly used Diamond to Shields?
No, mm-mm. She's a no for me. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nice woman, but it's a no for me personally.
How do you
Would y'all
feel?
be able to? I was gonna say, would y'all? What about Sevy?
I do like Sevi. Now, I do like her. And as a backup guard, like I think she would actually be very useful. Um, I could accept Sebi.
How
I
do
was
you?
kind of thinking the same thing about Ivana,
Mhm.
because her season in Seattle with Jewel, she looked like she was really good, right? Like she's known to be like she can play her role really well. Um, but she ain't get no tick this year. Um, that lady will rule today. Um,
Sevi and Julie Vanloo, as a matter of fact, are restricted free agents. Or what is that?
It's exclusive rights, but
Yeah.
they're so I mean it depends on what direction their teams want to go in. And Dallas, they're they're gonna have a whole new brain trust in there, so they could just move off of Sevi because it wasn't. I mean, they didn't invest in her, so that you really don't have that attachment to these players. So could be an opportunity.
Would you be interested in an open box Courtney Vandersloot? Just a 1 year
to
under
do
put it
what?
put her
To do
under
what?
to the vet presence, put her under her wing, let her know this is what you should be doing, this is how you should be acting. Come in, play some spot minutes. As one playoff game where she goes crazy, just that's what I'm saying for the men, for the men, for the vet men.
Is Courtney Vandersloot okay with that? That
Now
that's a real question.
that's the real question.
She shouldn't be arguing with nothing. Like respectfully, it's time.
Right,
Respect.
and so it's just like imagine she's like, do I want to pack my stuff and move to Indiana, or can I just go and get out of here?
Maybe
I
she,
think you
she
could see Natasha Howard on a 1 year deal for sure. Comes back to Indy, does Natasha Howard stuff. Like if less, because there was so much on her to do offensively this season before Satou came. Like her efficiency wasn't great, but less you do less offense, but more of the defense stuff. Put her next to Aliyah, I think you can do some like great stuff. There's the veteran again that completely messes with your forward room. Like you have to do something then. So I do think if they feel they have a pretty good like chance at her, I don't know what the forward room looks like, but I think there's a shot there for sure.
Yeah, I feel like most teams are going to be calling about Natasha Howard because
This,
Has to.
is
She said, "I'm
that
out of
type
here."
of yeah that type of versatility in the front court is going to
Yeah,
be that's going to be a very like a highly coveted archetype of player because I mean it's not that many bigs that that are that versatile in the league. So I'm sure there's going to be she's going to be one of the most sought after free agents, I would imagine.
and she's like 33 or something, but she don't play like she's 33
no.
or
Mhm.
however she is. I think she's
Yeah,
33.
30 33. I see now she is.
She don't be playing like she's 33. Like, and that's what I respect about her.
Can I interest you in a multiple WNBA final performing point guard, Natasha Heidemann?
To do what? Like, I just, you need to do some explanation when you mention these people. To do what?
Play
I don't think
backup.
she would help. She would help.
She can't play no backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Is she
yeah,
restricted?
See, I
Is
feel
she
like
yeah,
restricted or unrestricted?
yeah.
he is. Let me see. Natisha Heidemann is.
Leave that woman where
She's
she at.
unrestricted.
She
Yeah,
found
she's
a
unrestricted.
home in Minnesota. Let her stay where
I
she
feel
at.
like she found a home too, but if
Hey,
she's like,
Fee
oh,
already
I'm
said
interesting, I'll be like,
Fee already said this will never be the same team again. So somebody getting left at home. Somebody will not be coming back.
And it's probably the one. I hope if they're smart, it's gonna be one of the motherfuckers who did not play. Diamond
I
love
do
me,
like.
but you're
I
not
do
back.
like the. I do like the idea of you mentioned Shatori Walker Kimbrough earlier. I like that potentially. I think that could be a nice pickup.
She moves me. She moves me. She comes in, plays her role, gives you her, 10 and 3, and moves on. I like that. And she defends well. So
She does.
yeah.
Let's see.
Can I ask you just a free agency question? Where would you like Alyssa and DB to end up?
I keep saying I would like Alyssa Thomas on the Dallas Wings. I keep saying it, and I won't stop saying it. But they can both go there. DeWanna could if
I think they're both going somewhere together.
If DB retires, I get it. But she also says she's not trying to do that. But if they both end up on Dallas, I think that'd be fire.
Our worst nightmare and what I think will happen is that they're going to Phoenix. And they don't deserve nice things.
Phoenix or
Phoenix.
Alyssa and
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay.
Phoenix was not the
Thomas.
same.
Love him down.
Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner
Turn this off right now.
deserve everything that the world has to offer, especially DeWanna Bonner. But Phoenix,
I really want them to stay in Connecticut. I really, really want them to stay in Connecticut.
Jemay want them to run it back.
I think this is their year. If they get Natasha Howard, this is their year. They got to keep everybody, right? I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to keep them people. But
practicing on a half court while a birthday party is happening on the same court. That's what you want for them.
Listen, that is diabolical, okay? And I hope the Mohegan Suns PR was so bad that they never let that shit happen again. I hope it's so bad that they never let that happen again. But I think next year is Connecticut's year. I just see it. I see it. We're going to be on this. I feel the next couple years is going to be a run of just new team every year. And I think next year is Connecticut's year. I really see it. They were this close. They were Natasha Howard away from winning a chip. Come on. I just... And Ono get a little bit more minutes. Veronica Burton was shooting threes. They were this close.
I think if they get Natasha Howard, they run it back. If they don't get Natasha Howard, them girls is going. I think Alyssa is saying, you better sign somebody else before you sign me. I know that.
Everybody thinks they're going to core Alyssa, so we'll see.
Oh, they do have the core. Yeah. They don't have a first round pick because it went to Chicago for Marina Mabrey.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They really gotta listen. They're disclosed.
Alyssa Thomas to the Wings and DeWanna Bonner to the Fever. How about that?
No,
I don't think that.
You know what? If DeWanna decides,
let's break up some happy homes. Let's break up some happy homes.
I like DB, I do, but my sister needs to take a lesser role. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people keep putting her in positions where she got to do a lot. We don't need you to do a lot. We really, really need you to just do 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I bet people keep putting her in positions where she got to play 35. That's not.
That sounds like you want her to come to the Aces, which I'm also all for.
That's just greedy. That's just greedy.
I'll be that.
I'll be that. Nneka, come on.
Yeah, right.
DeWanna Bonner, it's some money under the table for you somewhere. I promise to God it is.
True. Someone's got it.
You're gonna be
they won't know. It's all good.
You're gonna be one of them fake coaches for the Las Vegas Raiders. You ain't even gotta show up. Just some money on the table for you. A player development assistant trainer.
Insane. Insane.
Also another thing that the Fever can add, they could add some people in the draft. Uh, Taka, is there anyone that you believe that may be coming out that you think would be a good addition to this team?
Sonia Citron's pretty like the clear one from Notre Dame. However,
Both
you
both
guys say
work.
it. And Sonia Rivers also, though the last game wasn't the best one, but sometimes you learn a lot about a player when they don't play their best. So Sonia Rivers, like if you want to move Caitlin off ball more, you want a wing who can play some guard, who can defend really well, but kind of like a Gabby Williams, but not quite there yet. If you want to develop that type of player, she's there. Those are my two right now, just because I look at that position. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Fever. It depends where they think they are in their timeline. Like I would probably just take the draft pick, but if they think they're closer than I do right now, they might think, oh, let's make a trade and get a veteran. Like if they feel like, oh, we're going to hit one player in the draft, oh, we're going to sign a free agent, trade for a veteran who can come do the things we want them to do right now. But yeah, those two to me are the ones I'm watching a lot of, just because I think, like you mentioned earlier, like Lexi's great there, but you want more depth there on the wing and a different type of wing defender. Because it would be cool to be able to throw two really good perimeter defenders on the floor at once when you want to. Yeah, so those are my two. But anyone else? Any other ideas or thoughts?
So you do think guard is the direction that Indiana goes if they stay in the draft?
Slightly bigger, like not someone you're asking to do a lot of ball handling, but the a little bit of handling would be good, like Alexi Hull, but someone who can also create their own shot a little bit and do a bit of creation for others. Because I think Lexi was great spotting up, but you saw as soon as Connecticut ran her off the line, like her drive game is really limited, and so when she would get stuck, it was just like one dribble, two dribble, and there wasn't much else from there. So bringing someone in who can do some of the things Lexi can, but also has a bit of an off the dribble game. And then you can do those things. We have Caitlin and Kelsey off ball together, and somebody else is doing a bit of the creation. In my vision of the team, right? That just might be my vision of the team, where we have another creator. But yeah, I wouldn't want a small guard. I would want
Right.
I'd want someone who can do a bit of both.
So
Right. So
oh, go ahead, Jay.
no, I was just gonna say, so we're not looking at like Georgia Amore. That's not the type of guard that Indiana looks at. I wouldn't think so either.
I wouldn't. But we're looking at that point guard list before, and the free agency. But like, I wouldn't look at like a Georgia Amore, a good player, right? Really good player.
Right.
But what kind of minutes is she going to get when, Caitlin
Right. And
is playing 32 and the Kelsey's playing
right.
30?
That seems like right. It seems like you don't play Georgia Amore and Caitlin Clark together
Nah.
for an extended period. So let's say if Caitlin's playing like she played 36 minutes last year. I don't think she does it again. So for example, Sabrina Ionescu played 32 minutes a game
Perfect.
in the regular season for the Liberty. If Caitlin's playing 32 minutes and Georgia Amore is playing 9 minutes, like that's not. Do you draft a player at 8 to get him 9 minutes? I don't know
Hmm.
because I feel like you have to at least envision a role for them, even if that player doesn't develop into who you think they'll be. I feel like you have to when you draft a player, you have to have at least a pathway to consistent minutes for them.
Yeah.
So the Indy Star put out a draft options for the team in October the 17th.
Nice.
Some of the names that are on here are, like Taka said, Tanaya Rivers and Sonia Citron. Some other ones, or the three other ones, are Janiyah Barker from
Oh yeah. Yeah.
UCLA,
She.
uh, Anissa Moro,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah.
I feel like there isn't really a. I would be very surprised if Anissa is that low at that point. But I mean, if she is, I feel like that's a surefire. Let me get that. Uh,
Right.
and Maddie Westbeld.
Maddie is injured. Um, Janaya, not sold, not sold, not gonna lie, not sold. Sonya Central either. I'm not. She feels so streaky to me. I understand why people like her. But she just feels so like she's either there or she's not. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of like how she feels to me. Um, a player that I think I would like that is Gianna Neepkins from Utah. Um, I think she's a pretty solid like ball handling guard. Can create her own shot. She's like 6'1", maybe 6 foot, maybe. She is coming off an injury, so we'll have to see how she like acclimates to this year. But I think she would be a guard that I'd like think about and be like, okay, we can see where you at. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think Sanaya could be cute too. I Cheyenne Sellers is moving me
Oh
just
yeah,
a
yep,
bit.
yep,
Just a bit.
yep.
You know, I always say that her and Diamond Miller were like um the same because they were doing that thing where they just sometimes just do a tad too much. But when I watched them play Duke and just her recognizing, I think, the talent around her, I feel
Yeah,
like she
yeah.
made so many more better decisions.
I like that.
And I feel like at the pro level, like you have that same thing. So I
Yeah,
think she could honestly be a really
yeah,
solid wing. She gotta
yeah.
stop falling on the floor, but I think she could be a solid wing.
I like it. Great size, like vision, can handle, can create, can play off ball. Like, yeah, good. Like defend, can defend as well. Like, no, I like, yeah, that'd be good too. Like, I just do wonder how much the Fev want to do development and how much they just want to push straight away. Because all the players we're naming, I feel like they'll help contribute, but I don't know that I see a game changer straight away, and I wonder if that's what they want. And so but but we'll see. It's much
How
more fun this season having like last
Yeah.
season. I was so nervous with free agency before the draft, but now that we've got an established team, and you just get to like hopefully you can fill all the holes that you feel you have, and you go into the draft just like we're kind of good. We just want someone else that can add something different. Um, it's the first time in a few years where it's felt positive. Because last time it was like we're waiting to see is Caitlin coming out. Oh, she is cool. Players aren't coming for the idea of Caitlin Clark, but hopefully seeing her play, there's a bit more interest in joining Indiana. You know, hey, come run the wings, you're gonna get points. Hey, come, we'll play out pace, so you're gonna get stats. Like you don't have to worry about that. We're gonna pump your numbers just because we're gonna play fast. Especially for a year.
So, do you think do you think this needs to be a year where they're looking to add um immediate contributors? Because I mean, they're going to be considered solidly a playoff team going into next season. So, is the direction that you think they should go in? Do you think they need to be we need to add players who may have limited skill sets, but will at least know what they bring? Is that the direction that you think they should be looking at, or do you think they should say we're in a position to still take an upside swing here and there, and then down the line that could make us, a surefire contender in a year or so, maybe not right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my expectation would be try win a playoff series this year. That's what I think. That's the you made the playoffs. Hey, just try win one series. Yeah, they might think, oh, we're gonna, because I remember, like, I think Jemay, was it like preseason when somebody in the organization said we're gonna be the best team in the league this year,
Yes, the
right?
fucking president was like, "We're gonna win a championship." I said, "No, we're not. Why would you even say that?"
Yeah, so so it depends. Like, I would say that shouldn't be the expectation yet either. Like, I would just do the step below, just win a series this year, and then. And especially because then, like, the new CBA happens, then you got everybody jumps into free agency, and then the whole league shifts after this season. Then I would think you aim higher. But so I think you still can take upside swings. But what do you all think? Because I just think one playoff series is a good goal, but maybe that's aiming too low. Or
No. I think we talk about this a lot. But I think teams really try to rush into success. And I think now that we've seen this influx of really good rookies, I think we're getting fans that are also not used to waiting patiently for success to happen. These girls' careers are going to span 10 plus years bearing injury. Like, they're not going to the finals every year. I think Sue Bird talked about on her pod at one point, like, it was a point in her career, either she made it to the finals or she lost in the first round. Like, she just kept going back and forth on that. And I think the Fever should be okay with getting their first playoff win or first playoff round win, even like first playoff win in general, their first playoff round win with their core, giving whoever they play in the second round a tough out, whether they win or lose, and then living with the results from there. I think if they don't win their first playoff round series, then it can kind of be disappointing. But I think if you do win your first round and you play a really competitive 4 or 5 games with whoever you play next, I think that should be looked at as a successful season. Because, I mean, you make it to the second round, you more than likely you are playing whoever made it to the finals, and then you basically more than likely played whoever won a championship. So, like, you can't really be mad at that. I just think now people are really caught up on success really early. Like, even with Chicago next year, now they have Tyler Marsh, Angel gets another year, whatever. If Chicago don't win their first round playoff series, they probably gonna say a lot of mean things about everyone on that team as well. Because it's just like, that's just what they do. It don't have to be that way, but that's just what they do. So I just think people need to be more patient. It's okay to not win at times. Like, Asia didn't win her first ring until 2022, obviously. And then, they made the finals in 2020 in a COVID year, but then they had a disappointing out to Phoenix in 2021. They were a losing team the first couple years she got there. So, like, it takes time to be what a team is. Like, everyone can't be like, even with Stewie, like, she won pretty early on, but they also kind of had a really good team already. She came in with things kind of set, and these players aren't coming in with things kind of set. And on top of that, Stewie won and then did not win for a little minute after that.
I was gonna say, when Stewie and Jewel got drafted, I think after Stewie's rookie year, they fired the coach because they were like, "Nah, this is a championship caliber team. We got Sue Bird, we got Jewel Lloyd, we got Brianna Stewart. We need to be winning." And it was like, so and the thing about the W, with it being such a small league with not as many teams, it it's hard for defining success for a franchise gets muddied up a little bit because you say, "Oh well, we we need to be this level of team now." Teams are not looking to rebuild. Just like we talked about Chicago, like they fired Teresa Witherspoon, and they were saying, they were 13 and 17, but from the outside looking in, most people thought that Chicago wouldn't even be that level of team. Like, so for them to be in the playoff hunt as long as they were, we thought that was a success, but the front office was like, this is not good enough. So I guess it's gonna be interesting for a team like Indiana to play that, to try to balance that, because I do think winning a first round series is a success for the Fever next season. I think that's a success. But in the first round, especially with it being a 3-game series, you know, ball bounced a certain way and you go home in the first round, is your season a failure? I don't know. But so I guess it depends on how people decide to look at it, I think.
I think we're moving too fast, like personally. Um, and that's why I think like I think we're moving too fast. Like to me, next season will be a success if we can sustain 20 wins. Like obviously we want to make the playoffs, but like if we could sustain 20 wins and I can see a leap, it don't even have to be a leap, but if I can see the improvement with, our core and them, playing better together, playing better individually, like actually starting to see them grow as individuals and as a unit, like that's success to me. And I just feel like so much of what the Fever have done recently just feels like we need to win in 2 years. And it's like, well, really, how realistic is that given who we have right now, right? Like I literally put so much faith into both Caitlin and Aliyah, like amazing. Okay. Like y'all know Aliyah's my girl, right? But when I see Aliyah play Asia Wilson, I can see that like she not quite there yet. Some days she got it, but them other days she ain't got it. And it's like, do I think that in 1 year that Aliyah is about to surpass Asia? No. I just don't see that as the next like, and that's the thing. And maybe I'm just using the aces as a bar, right? Because to me they kind of are a standard, right? Like Asia's the best player, the best player in the league. Like, and I feel like if your best big can't really go toe to toe with her, it's gonna be really hard for you to kind of overcome because that means everybody else has to be like damn near perfect. Um, and I think that's like too much pressure for a young team, right? Like this is the first year that we saw Lexi like actually shooting the ball well, right? It's like next season if she don't do that, we're cooked. Like we're really cooked. I don't, it's like I started to see Caitlin like getting her shots off well, but there were definitely games where she did not shoot well, and it's like, is our offense going to expand? Is that even going to be something she's able to do? Can she play off ball better? Like I feel like there are so many things about them as individuals that need to grow that it feels like a lot of things are skipping over it because because we got a new front office, because we got a new coach, like it just feels like everything like we need to win a championship in 2 years. And I just don't think that we're there. And maybe I'm underselling like the greatness of Caitlin Clark, right? But I just don't feel like we're there. I just don't think we're there. Like 3 or 4 years, maybe I buy it. I can see it. But like next year, maybe the year after that, I don't know. And maybe I feel differently if we have, you know, more better veterans on our bench. Um, Maybe I feel differently with that. Or even like we do get a draft pick that is like immediately ready. Nobody feels like that currently besides Paige Beckers, and we know we're not getting her. So like it all of it feels kind of like, I don't know. And maybe like we can make some trades that'll kind of push us over, but I just feel like everything's happening so fast right now. Like the Fever getting to like a second round playoffs next season would probably like it would probably slick shock me. I would be like, oh girl, oh, like y'all was in the gym. Like something, I don't want to say miraculous, but like something happened where like now we're over that hump. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's all fast, but it's fine, right? It's like we went in 2 years. That's great for me, but great for the franchise. But I just don't think, I don't know. I just don't feel like we're quite there yet. I don't know.
That's fine. That's understandable. I mean, you mentioned the Aces and how they're like the standard, and like the fact that they got uh Kelsey, Asia, and Jackie back to back to back drafts, and they did not win a chip until 4 years after 3, 4 years after Jackie got drafted. Like it took a minute to get there. And like if these fans had control of the front office, they probably would have got rid of some of these players before they could really make an impact in the same way. So like you really have to give grace to these players and give grace to these like just give grace to the system because it's just gonna take a little minute for them to learn and grow and adapt and be the players that you want them to be because this is a really hard league to be successful in. Um, we talk about this damn near every episode at this point, but like everyone expects to win every game, but there's really very rarely any gimme games in the W. Like you out of 12 teams, 10 of them, 8 of them made the playoffs, and then like 3 of them were in the playoff hunt until damn near the last day, or 10 of them, or 8, 2 of them were in the playoff hunt until the very last day. Um, the Sparks were bad, but I mean, the Sparks are probably the only team I would say is like not good right now, but that could very, the Kevin Brink was hurt. So I can only imagine how that'll change next year. How it's going to change their defense, will they get a new coach, who they end up drafting, another year for De'Erica, like things like that. The Wings were bad all year, but they were also hurt. And still, at the end of the day, they had Enrique on the team, and it's like if Enrique go on a heater, you might be cooked either way. So, and if they had probably signed Odyssey Sims to the rest of the year, they would have won more games. So that's very shame on them. But other than that, every team is pretty damn good. Like Atlanta has Brian Howard, Leash, Jordan Canada. The Mystics employ Black Magic on defense. Like it don't matter who's on their roster, they have a top 3 defense. It don't matter. It could be the 4 of us and Brittany Sykes, and we gonna have they gonna have a top 3
At least
defense.
they'd be at least league average. Like
At least league average. Like I
We
mean,
making jokes, just not to hold your thought just for a second. We making jokes about the Mystics, but whoever was their defensive coach, we might need to call Eric. I think Eric we might need to put him on the bench. I'm not gonna lie. Like Eric need to call because he did
he
something with that. He did something.
he whatever they do, if you take the individual because even their best defenders did not play most of that season.
Didn't play. Yeah. Didn't play.
So like if you take one of those players and try to be like guard this player one-on-one, it's probably not going to be nothing crazy, but like as a team, they were so connected and it was just insane. The Mercury were mid, but like mm, you know,
you see the thing about the Mercury is they had one of them. with Kalia Copper playing at the level that she played at this season, it was like it don't matter how inconsistent the rest of the team is, because if she get hot,
It's
we
cooked.
we we got as
It's
good of a
awesome.
chance as any team to win any game.
So like it's just very rare, if any, yeah, we could take this night off type stuff. The Sky were really barely even that way until Angel, like they struggled when Angel got hurt, and I just think it's because the way that the team was, and then you know you're missing out on your arguable best player. Um, but like they competed with a lot of top teams all year. I mean, they beat the Liberty. So like, yeah, it's just if it doesn't work, any team could be really good or really bad any given year, and it really just depends on how the ball bounces. Um, so yeah, I think the Fever goal should be to win the at least one playoff series. It should not be the end of the world if they don't,
Yeah.
but I think people will act like it is. Now, because Jemay made a point that they should. You said you wanted them to consistently like win 20 games.
Yeah, I think if they can win 20 games, um, I think if they could win 20 games, because I feel like some of the games this year that we won, it was like God was on our side. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to feel like we
Like we're
won
really
that
good.
because like okay, we did it. You know what I'm saying? We was prepared. But it was a lot of games where I was like, Lord, don't call the travel right now. Like you did not see that moving screen. Like it was so many things like that I was just like, okay, like thank God, for the fever whistle. Like I don't know, because we needed that. We needed that. But like yeah, if I could see them win like a solid 20 games and just like see people actually making a transition to being better, like I will allow it, which I think is hard because like that's not necessarily a thing that like
Mm.
you can put a number on, right? Like maybe you could say, okay, we become the third best offense in the league, but that doesn't necessarily mean you got better either, right? So I don't. It's something that you would really have to watch and see.
No, and what made me ask is that so yeah, obviously y'all won 20 games last year, and y'all were the sixth seed. The fifth seed won 25 games, and then the fourth seed won 27 games. So even if let's say y'all won 25 games, if y'all play the Aces in the first round and y'all lost, is that really the end of the world? No. Are people going to treat it like it is? Absolutely. But like losing to like if they lost to the Sun again, that shouldn't be depending on yeah, that shouldn't be a bad thing by any means. Um, if let's say it's a Storm, like the teams ahead of them, the Storm, the Lynx, the Aces, the Sun, and the Liberty, like shouldn't none of those team losing to any of those teams be some type of the sky is falling type moment? Especially not in no of as especially if it's the first round. Like it's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. But
Maybe people won't do it though because everyone seems to have loved this the Stephanie White hire. So I don't want to hear any complaints. Like, not gonna lie, I don't want to see the tweets. Like,
this is
you can't
this
tweet
about to be y'all
Stephanie
Doc
White is
Rivers.
bad until 2026. Like, I don't want to see it at
This
the
about
end of 2026 at that.
this about to be y'all Doc Rivers.
Don't wishing that
Like
on me is
the Celtics one
crazy.
who
That's
won a
how I know
title,
you
right?
my
That's
biggest
what you mean?
pop.
Right,
You
right.
mean the Celtics one that won the
The Celt-
championship?
the,
Yeah,
yeah, the
I
Celtics
get
did win the
you.
title.
Yeah, I
So
get you. I see what you're saying.
See, Jemay thinks I was talking about 2024 Doc Rivers. I'm talking about '08.
You knew who we had in '08. You think those teams are similar?
You got
Yeah, look at like
listen.
yeah, yeah.
Your name Aliyah. Your name on Twitter is Aaliyah Boston Bark. You got KGB barking. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah, come on.
you got
Gotta go get. Oh, Ray Allen's there. That's Kelsey, maybe.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All they need is him to. They don't even need him. They really need him to coach that well. They just need him to bring the roster together. That's what they're asking Kristy Sides to do. Is just bring the roster together.
Stephanie White.
Take Stephanie White, excuse me. Just take him out to dinner and let him. You know what I'm saying?
What
Take
will
him out.
make you
Take him
be
out the
on board
country.
with the Stephanie White move, Jemay? What will make you go, okay, you know what?
Wait, what was your
You're
question?
not too bad. What will make you change your thoughts on Stephanie White?
Um,
Or is it kind of a case of like she has to show me over this season that it
She
was
gonna have to show me something. She gonna have to show me something. Seriously.
over the season, right? You need to
Yeah,
see.
over the season. You know, you can't really do a game by game because
Yeah.
I know how they get down. I know how the Fever get down. So I can't trust them on a game by game basis. But over the course of the season, I'm gonna give her an opportunity to show me something. I honestly though, if they get better immediately defensively, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But yeah, she will have to show me something because I don't know. I'm not too like I get the like history thing of it and like that's cute, fantastic, great story. The articles have been written, you know, the pictures have been photoshopped. It's cute. But I need more than Photoshop pictures. Okay, I need us to put the wins in the column. What do you think of it? Are you excited for her?
Oh yeah. More offensively than defensively, to be honest. Like looking at what she did with Connecticut, with their like the shooting limitations, the creation stuff, what she was able to do. Like Alyssa Thomas obviously always been awesome, but just giving her even more control of the offense and how they were able to come up with things to make that work. And like, you know, their spacing sometimes just terrible just because they were just limited, and the way they were able to have an efficient offense. Yeah, really excited for, I think, that side even more than defensively. Like, I just think she's going to be able to do a good job of especially empowering Aliyah. I think Aliyah's passing's going to get more opportunities to be highlighted. Like Aliyah at the elbow, Aliyah working stuff from the low post. I think she's, if it's based on like how she used Tamika, how she used Alyssa, and obviously they're amazing players, so it could just be that she was like, oh, they're amazing, I want to make the most of that. But if that's a part of her kind of offensive philosophy, is a big who can pass is really valuable for creating opportunities and mismatches. Yeah, I'm really excited about what we could see there for her, to be honest. I think it could be I think it could be a mix of the low post and the high screen stuff, where it's not one or the other, where she's finding that right mix. So I think Aliyah, it's another adjustment for Aliyah. It feels like first season getting used to the league, second season, hey, a lot of high pick and roll. This season, I actually want you to kind of go in the middle. We're going to make the most of both of it. So we'll see. But that's kind of my real big hope for what that could look like. So yeah, watching lots of games from previous versions of her teams going, oh, that's Aliyah right there.
No, I think that's a good point. Yeah, because I mean even the high low with like Bree Jones, AT, like I feel like that's something that Aliyah would thrive in. So
that was season 1 Aliyah, right? That was high low NaLyssa and Aliyah just smashing people with high low, and then it kind of disappeared. But,
yeah. You know, so yeah.
Will, Jay, would you like to say the line?
Yes, I believe that all hearts and minds are clear.
Well, Taka, did you have anything else?
No, thank you so much for having me. It was fun sitting here talking up Fever, chatting it out, and I feel like I got to Jemay's heart of how she really feels, you know, which is the whole goal. Like, how does Jemay feel? I know how she feels. So
listen, that's our favorite thing.
Oh my God.
Poking away, like, what do you think?
We love that Jemay soapbox.
But thanks so much for having me. A blast, really fun. Just really good.
Well, this has been another episode of Pull Up 3. I am Paragon Don.
I'm Jemay.
I'm Jay Trent.
And
I'm Taka.
You did not tell him that before.
I didn't warn him.
Like the intro where you say it, and then I just go, yeah.
I didn't warn him at
We
all.
were
So that's
supposed
my
to
fault.
tell you beforehand that at the end you do that. It's
just like
I believed him. Yeah, I believed in him. That's my fault though. We can do it again though. Let's we didn't have to run it back before. It's okay. I'm Berger.
I'm Jemay.
I'm
I'm Taka.
And we'll talk to you all later.